I wouldn't have came into a community where there was still a lot of racial tension.
39-year-old Arthur Jackson lives in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He moved there a little less than a year ago to work for the local Chamber of Commerce. Tulsa is one of 9 cities across the country trying to boost its diverse workforce and using incentives like the prospects of new jobs, minority business programs, and other tactics, including offering $10,000 for people to move there, as is the case with the Remote Tulsa program.
Originally, it was $10,000 for a grant for you to move there. I think the stipulation was you have to stay a year. And now I think they've kind of morphed it where you get some additional incentive to buy a home.
For decades, a handful of U.S. cities developed a reputation for their bustling black populations, which include places like Atlanta, with more than 250,000 people of African descent calling it home. But other cities, often thought of as black hubs like Detroit, Chicago, New York City, and even Washington, D.C., actually saw their black populations drop over the last 2 decades, according to the census. While not everyone participates in the census, the population shifts are noteworthy. So what's behind all of this? Research firm DCI offers a possible answer. It used census data to identify 9 cities across the country that's specifically targeting black people to make the move by looking at population shifts and economics of the cities. The cities include Tulsa, Fayetteville, and Carolina Core, North Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, Cincinnati, Ohio, Colorado Springs, Colorado, Jacksonville, Florida, Rockford, Illinois, and Fargo, North Dakota. While each city has its own cultural flair, collectively, they all have thriving industries with companies seeking out black people to work there.
This definitely gave us an opportunity to shine a light on rising cities that are, taking major steps to elevate the Black community. And so that's just through career opportunities and then also, again, just the overall quality of life.
Some of the cities listed have seen growth in their black populations, while others remain steady and a few cities saw slight drops. Boeing's manufacturing plant wants to increase its black workforce by 20% over the next 5 years in Charleston. In Cincinnati, its Minority Business Accelerator program helped 70 black-owned businesses flourish in recent years, creating around 3,500 jobs.
Cincinnati, for example, they have the Minority Business Accelerator program, which has served as a national model for the development of minority-owned businesses.
Samaria Palmer, an account manager with the research firm, says many of the cities were already developing programs before 2020 to improve the quality of life of its black residents and attract more. In cities like Fargo, North Dakota, its black population grew from 2.7% in 2010 to 8.8% in 2020.
There's about 7,000 Liberians living in Fargo, and then they also have a strong Somali community there as well.
And still seeing people of color that looks like me in the various areas, I still have to adjust to their cultural perspective and assimilate somehow.
Terry Hogan is one of Fargo's newer black residents who recently moved to the city from Chicago to work as the city's first director of diversity, equity, and inclusion.
It's very, very urban. As though I'm in Chicago, I still can go to various restaurants. I can do certain things I want to do, And at the same time, too, if I want to go out and do a little bit of sometimes hiking and stuff like that, I can do that and feel safe up on doing that,
The economics of these cities also prove attractive, particularly their lower than average cost of living. That and a new job opportunity is what helped draw Matthew Worley to move from Chicago to Rockford, Illinois.
The increase in specifically the black population, I think, is attributed to many factors, but the cost of living here is amazing.
Rockford's cost of living is 18% lower than the national average. Its aerospace industry is aggressively working to boost its black workforce, and the city saw its black population grow a little more than 9% over the last decade.
I hope to see that there will be almost a renaissance here for especially the black population to ensure that we can bring better jobs and we can bring better activities, because I think it's coming.
Despite the job opportunities for the people we spoke to, they acknowledge moving to a place where there may be fewer black people can be uneasy at times. Arthur Jackson in Tulsa is well aware of the city's racial history, dating back to the Tulsa massacre of its Black Wall Street.
But it's really been a community effort, I think, to focus on North Tulsa, on the Greenwood district, to continue to revitalize that. But as we look at redevelopment and reuse in a community, right, you want to be very careful not to push out and gentrify areas, especially in a historic area like Greenwood that's been through so much over the last century.
But Jackson says in his short time in the city, he's seen progress made with intentional efforts to create economic opportunities and more Black and brown people assuming city leadership positions, all of which help reassure him moving away from his hometown of Austin, Texas was a safe bet. Reporting for Atlanta Black Star, I'm Cavante Smalls.